Hey everyone, I'm Alexis, the Ego Queen. Love me? I know you do. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about the Tau, or Tau, or however you pronounce it now. I'm going to stick with the Tau. So, in this video series, we're going to be talking about certain armies and a loud truck outside my house that's annoying me. Sorry about that. But in this series, we're going to talk about why to play certain races, what's cool about them, and what they have to offer on the tabletop. We're going to go into some lore. I actually have notes for once. Breakdown of each of the units. I'm going to joke about the army itself, of course. How to play them. Do I view them as good or bad or mediocre? Why I like them in general. Why I don't like them if I flat out just don't like them. And then I'm going to ask the live stream itself if they have any questions about the army. So, let's get into it. The Tau. Let's break down the lore. The Tau army itself was a very, 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 very young race and is often referred to as the babies of the galaxy. The Tau first appeared around, oh god, I'm going to get this wrong and Michael's going to yell at me. Not during the Great Crusade, but they appeared around 6,000 years ago. Estimated, don't quote me on that. But either way, when their race first appeared, the Space Marines, when they first made contact with them, saw that they were a very primitive alien race using nothing more than sticks, rocks, and, well, pretty much nothing. They were a footnote. They were nothing. They were something that they could just simply come back, destroy, and take over the planet if they needed it. Which, of course, as we know, the Imperium needs all the planets. The Tau themselves, they viewed the Space Marines at the times as amazing, like these giants that have come from the stars to visit them. But then a warp storm broke out, and their race was sealed away by this warp storm for the next few thousand years. Space Marines, Imperial fleets, and even the Mechanicum could not get in contact with them or get to their planet itself. The Tau then, well, the warp did what the warp usually does. It accelerated time or something. It did warp magic stuff. And now there's a really loud bike outside my house. I hate this. Anyway, sorry about the noise outside. I can't control it. When they were in this warp storm, they advanced thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years to the point where when this warp storm finally lifted, they had things that resembled, well, Gundams, to put it bluntly. The XV-8 suits. XV being the common number for each of their varying suits. You have the XV-88 broadside battle suit, the XV-36 stealth suit, I believe, and the most common on the tabletop anyway, the XV-8 crisis suit. I prefer the XV hazard close support suits, but they got a new name and I don't really like their new name, so I kind of just call them the hazard close support units because those were kind of the coolest things ever. The Tau are broken down into a caste system: the fire, the water, the air, and the earth caste, as well as the ethereals. Originally, the Tau fought each other more than anything else until the ethereal class came into being and unified the Tau. Now, there are several rumors that you can see on my Crazy Friends channels about this. Michael has done videos on this, and so has Remlife. I would suggest checking out both of them as they break down the lore extremely well. When the ethereals came into the Tau lore, they unified the Tau and they started furthering their construction, furthering their vehicles, furthering their expansions into space and colonizing. They eventually took over several other alien races. They befriended them through kindness and through the enthusiasm of the greater good, which is what they believe in. They don't believe in any type of deity, and they barely have a presence in the warp, yet they can be corrupted by chaos. The Tau themselves, they have several alien races that work with them, Tau auxiliaries, including Gulva, I think it's how it is. I'm not entirely sure, but that's the human race that works with them, the humans. The Demiurge, which are basically space squats, like the tech priest version of the squats. They also have the most famous of all, the Kroot, hashtag free the Kroot, Kroot lives matter. They also have the Vespids. The Kroot themselves are more or less a Native American bird species that evolved based on what they eat. They have shapers and they have several kindred. They are the close combat units of the Tau, as Tau view close combat as, well, kind of barbaric, unneeded, unnecessary, and for the most part, not really important. As their philosophy is, I can blast it from this far away, I'll just move back more. Let those pesky Kroot go and deal with it. They also have the Vespids. Now, the Vespids I kind of feel bad for, as once they are a bird. I got this. I practiced this, just letting you know. I actually sat down and practiced my speeches and everything. The Vespid are a bug-type species of humanoid. I'm saying humanoid very loosely in this case. They have 2 arms and 2 legs and a pair of wings. They're horrifying looking and use plasma weapons. They were indoctrinated into the Tau fully once the Tau gave them a certain mask. Sounds like mind control to me, but I digress. The Tau believe in democracy over actual invasions by force when they colonize a planet. They try to influence the planet first to start following the belief system of the greater good, and then finally come down to the planet and making them join them. Instead of the Space Marines approach of shoot the planet, go down there, shoot the survivors, and then, well, take over the planet and terraform it and do whatever they need to do to it. The Tau also allow the people, you keep some of their, how to put this? They allow the people to keep their culture, if that's a way to put this. Like, they frown upon the Kroot doing their ceremonial feasting after a battle, but they don't stop them from doing it. It's like, that's gross, but you do you, boo. I'm gonna go to the rec center and actually get some real food. But you go ahead and eat that guy's brain. Have at thee. But let's get into what makes the Tau really, really cool. Aside from what I think makes the Tau really cool, which are the Kroot. The Tau have Gundams. The easiest way to put this, they have Gundams. The only problem with the Tau Gundams is they don't have any swords. But, like I said, they view close combat as kind of just meh, not important. They do carry blades with them, but they're more of ceremonial blades than anything else. I think there's only one... Yeah, I think there's actually only one character in the entire army lineup of fire warriors, just strict fire warriors, not in suits, that actually carries a blade, and that's the fire blade. And then there's one of the most famous of all, Farsight, who actually has his giant sword and might be corrupted by chaos, but we don't know yet. That's another theory. That's a theory. Anywho, the Tau have giant battle suits, ranging from the smaller stealth suits to the XV8 most common battle suit, all the way up to the Storm Surge, which is a battle suit capable of rivaling that of a Warhound Titan. The Tau don't really have anything bigger than that when it comes to suits themselves. They'll probably just bring in an actual spaceship when it comes to that kind of fighting. Or they'll probably realize, hey, maybe this fight isn't worth doing, and then their entire 4th expansion will get destroyed. Whoopsie daisy, things happen. Jokes aside. The Tau's most common weaponry is anything from a burst cannon, which is similar to that of a minigun, a plasma rifle, which is similar to the plasma technology, except better quality of the Imperiums. And it's more like the Eldar plasma than anything else. They then have fusion weaponry, think meltaguns. as well as several thousands of missiles. They love their guns. They also have weapon systems that don't require any type of sight whatsoever. They can fire over cover through everything, and using things like long-range auxiliary scans to find the enemy and blast them from a distance. What other weaponry do they carry? I don't know, I think I went over their weapons pretty quickly. And keep in mind, I'm doing just a glimpse into their lore. The Tau, when they're actually in battle, they actually do... How to put this? They love doing no bases. Like, the Space Marines will build a forward base, Imperial Guard will build a base and entrench themselves. The Tau don't really do that. They simply set up a front line and then just move back as needed from that. The Tau see this as a strike quickly, strike hard, and then get out of there before you take any casualties. Which is why a lot of people refer to the Tau, when it comes to Tau tactics, it's more military, US military tactics. In fact, this army is extremely popular with military vets. And I've noticed this quite a lot. The Tau also use railguns and all sorts of other more science fiction-y based weaponry. They're Gundams, what can you expect? Other than that, their lore is... the jokes are there about them using communism and all sorts of other things, but I really don't think that that's worth getting into because, as I stated, they use more diplomacy than anything else and have one shared belief in a large ruling class of ethereals. So it's not like one guy is fully in charge. He has his underlings that actually inform him, and then even they have underlings. In fact, the entire ethereal class is huge and makes up several dozens upon dozens of people, if you can call them people. I'd assume you can call them people. I'm going to call them people. Blue people. Anyway, casual fictional racism aside, so let's talk about some of the units that this army brings. The most common that you will see on the battlefield is, as I said, the Fire Warriors and the XV8s. The Fire Warriors make up the bulk of the military force of the Tau. They use things like rail rifles and pulse carbines. Way fictional weaponry that we would probably never see in our entire lifetimes, although we have tested railguns on destroyer-class battleships, which is kind of awesome in my opinion. The Tau have extremely long range when it comes to their firepower, their average gun having 30-inch range. They use a lot of drone technology as well. Drones have several abilities on the battlefield, ranging from stealth to shield to just more guns. The drones do have some type of savior protocol, which is when they know that something is going to happen, they'll intercept the attacks and die for their comrades. I'm obviously saying comrades because it's a joke on them being... Anyway. Next we have the XV8's battlesuits. Now the XV8s are most commonly armed this edition with a meltagun, or several meltaguns, or several plasma guns. I don't really see them with too many other weapons, although I have noticed that a lot of people are bringing one battlesuit per squad with all flamethrowers. This is a very good strategy as it's a counter-assault, which I really think is kind of cool. The Tau bring... well, how the Tau actually operate on the field of battle is they usually deep strike these battlesuits into critical locations and light something up and destroy them. Then I usually immediately kill them as quickly as possible. That's just me. That's just me. The Tau's commanders, last edition, were called Buffmanders, as they boosted the squads around them. This edition, however, a lot of people are running their Tau commanders with a ton of guns, 4 different weapon systems, and drones. And I think that's actually a really cool way of running them, i.e. you get a whole bunch of guns and you can actually pose that model to look really cool with all of its weaponry. I've seen it rock 4 meltaguns, and I've watched what 4 meltaguns does to one of my Land Raiders. It's not fun. The next, you may see some bigger units, the Riptide Battlesuit, which is one of their big units. It's equivalent to that of like a Trigon from Tyranids, or that of a Dread Knight from the Grey Knights. It boasts a lot of firepower, it's high costed, and it does what it needs to do on the battlefield. The Tau do have mobility on their side. They have these things called Tetras and Piranhas. They also have fast attack units and jets. These jets make up a lot of speed when it comes to the battlefield, getting into critical locations that they need to deal as much damage to the enemy as possible. And again, the Tau need to kill something dead, they will do it. The other problem is once they're in their vital locations, they're kind of stuck there. That is one of the weaknesses the army has. When you drop in the battlesuits, they are stuck where they are. There's not really too much that you can do once you are, well, out in front of your enemy. So, let's go over how to play this army, at least how I would play this army. Now, a lot of you don't know, but I've had about 5,000 points of Tau. I played them 6th edition and 7th edition. 6th edition, I really liked them. 7th edition, I kind of hated them. And I'm going to explain this. In 7th edition, they were an auto-win army. I sat back with a couple of Riptide Battlesuits, blasted my opponent into oblivion, grabbed the objectives, and almost won every single game. Especially if I included, like, an ally that played Eldar. It just made the army too good, in my opinion. So I got bored with playing them. I like armies with mobility. I like armies that can punch. I don't like armies that just point guns and hope things go away. That's just me. Now, a lot of people do like, oops, sorry, hit this on keyboard. A lot of people do like armies where your opponent will never get to them. They will never actually get into range to get into punch phase and deal any damage. The Tau don't really like that happening, and they use their range to actually keep the opponents at bay. When it comes to building an army for the Tau, as it stands right now, after looking over the battles and everything, I can tell you that Tau, in my opinion, are not the most powerful race. There are simply better races out there in the meta, but if you are playing casually or you like uphill battles and you're a very good strategist, I would suggest the Tau to you. And how I would play them is I'd play a couple of groups of Pathfinders for some Markalites, quick Markalites, a Fireblade, because I really do like the Cadre Fireblade. He's always been one of my favorite characters. I also really like Shadow Sun. It's a chick with 2 giant meltaguns, like, come on. I also do like Disco Longstrike, that's my nickname for him. Longstrike, in a Hammerhead, sorry, I'm still forgetting the names. But when it comes down to it, nothing can beat Suit Wall. Just tons and tons of battle suits. That's the way I would play this game. The Gundams. I really like them. I'd be rocking probably a battalion detachment, 3 HQs, 2 being battlesuit commanders, 1 being a Cadre Fireblade or Shadow Sun herself. And I would just rock that. I would deep strike all 3 of them into critical locations that I needed them, along with a couple of battlesuits upon my opponent's back lines, keeping 1 with all flamers just to protect the other 2, and going crazy on the drones. Drones are extremely important this edition because they can take wounds for you and actually get 2 saves against it. So that's one of the biggest things, is you need to spam drones when you play Tau right now. They're just too good to pass up. Now, are the Tau good in the meta? As it stands right now, Tau didn't really do too hot in the most recent tournament settings that I've seen. Now, keep in mind, I do keep track of other bigger tournaments, but if you guys have seen anything different or know a good Tau loadout, please comment it in the comment section down below, which is over there. Yeah, if you know a good list, I would love to see it, because I do like to know my enemy before I go out and destroy them. jokes aside, I actually, if you keep a lookout on my channel, my Facebook channel and my Twitter account, you can see that I made a tier list and I put Tau at the bottom right now. I see a lot of their army needing to do an uphill battle when it comes to swarm armies and armies that can just get into combat really quickly. The Tau do lack any real combat capabilities aside from the Kroot, so that's one of their biggest weaknesses in my opinion. Now moving on, why I like the Tau. I like the Tau for several reasons. One, I do like that they are based, and I'm not going to say that they are based off of this, I do like that they play like the military, like an actual military army. It's not like the Imperial Guard, which just use bodies and tanks and go forward. The Tau actually play like a well-organized military instead of like the Sisters of Battle or the Space Marines, which just point at your enemy and go, I'm going to shoot that. The Tau actually have to operate using, well, tactics. That I really like. Also, the suits and specialty units remind me of like the Navy SEALs, the Marines, and things like that. And I know a lot of people are going to comment, oh no, they're not like that at all because they lack close combat, where Marines can actually kill something with like a shoelace and a stick of butter. That is a joke. They can actually do that. But anyway, I like the army because of the Kroot. Kroot are one of my favorite things that the Tau ever had. I love the Kroot Ox. I love the Kroot mercenaries themselves. I love the Vespid, not the Vespids, the Headhunter Kindred. I love the Vulture Kindred. I love all of their different types in the lore. The Shapers are really cool. I do wish that they would bring more of that into the 40k setting, as that would just be really cool. And I think Chapter Approved should do this, because I would love to see like the Kroot Vulture kin and the Headhunter kin and all sorts of other things that the Kroot can bring to a battle. I mean, hell, they come rocking into battle with a T-Rex. That is awesome. No matter what you say about the Kroot and how bad they suck, like, because they have no save whatsoever and they just die like nothing, they have a T-Rex. And if I've known anything, is dinosaurs make things cooler. Like, how do we make Resident Evil cooler? We add dinosaurs, and thus Dino Crisis. Good game, by the way. The sequel sucked. Why I don't like the army? Like I said before, the army actually lacks close combat capabilities. I do wish that they would design battle suits that had an equivalent to a power sword. I know the Inaugural Gauntlet exists, but I want my Gundams with some swords. I think it would be cool. Especially if they just made a dedicated suit that had sword, shield, and you got 3 of them per squad. And yes, I know Farsight kind of takes that bill, but at the same time, I want battle suits with swords and shields. Just saying, I know it's silly, I know it's stupid, I just want it. Especially with the drone capabilities, you can actually keep that squad alive, and it would be an extremely effective close combat unit, even if it was hitting on 4s. Just saying. Now, that's all I wanted to cover in this video for the Tau themselves. I hope you found this video informative and really inspired you to play the Tau or play against the Tau or do erotic fan fiction of some sort. Anyway, in the comment section down below, I want you to vote for the next army that I should do a video like this for. I'm personally leaning towards the Eldar, which are armies that I don't really like. And I want to talk and, show some love to those armies. So what do you guys think? What should I do as the next army? Whoop. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I clicked out of the page. My bad. But that's all I wanted to say about this. As always, I'm Alexis, the Ego Queen. I love you guys. Bye.